thank you so much for taking some time for me today. I sure appreciate it. I'm very excited to get to visit with you about this project. I guess just to start to kind of set the scene for those who are new and learning about this project for the very first time and have not yet had the chance to see any of the trailers or any of the marketing that you've done. Can you just kind of set the tone for us about what this film is about, and maybe a little bit about who the audience for this film is going to be?
Yeah, I mean it's probably a very interesting answer. So probably the genre is what you call it. It's horror, it's comedy, it's also musical. For people who are unsure of musicals or unsure of horror, you could just say it's a dark comedy. It's a fun film. It's an adventure, you could say, about a couple brothers and some I hate to throw around the term Lovecraftian because some people might not know what that means, but just some it's got some kind of dark horror-ish undertones to it. But throughout the process, I try to keep everything pretty light, very colorful, very bright. So even though there's these crazy, horrible things that are happening, I try to make it seem kind of happy at the same time. Um, I don't know if that really reflects on the genre very well.
So what kind of inspired this concept? Because it's very unique, the kind of the clash of these genres are not ones that you see very often. So what kind of led and inspired you to, or even led to the desire to want to bring these together?
Well, I think whenever I started, I didn't realize how crazy it would be to do a musical, and because it's 13 original songs, so we had to first off write them, choreograph them, everything, and that was probably what made it crazier than anything. But what kind of started me going down the path was I'm a big fan of Dr. Horrible's sing along blog. For anybody who's watching this or listening to this who has never heard of that before, you should probably go look it up. I think you can find it on YouTube or Amazon. But it's a Neil Patrick Harris one from back when there was a big writer's strike. And it was three 15-minute episodes, and it was about a supervillain who was trying to get into the evil league of evil, and it was a musical, and it was a lot of fun. And I thought, it would probably be equally fun to do the same thing, but do it with a horror story instead. And that's kind of what birthed it. It shares a lot of elements with a Lovecraft, H.P. Lovecraft story called the Dunwich Horror. So it's got the Necronomicon, it's got this elder god thing eventually, called Yog-Sothoth. It's a story about a couple brothers. So it shares a lot with that story, although it is not that story. So yeah, some things from there. I wanted to do bright colors with a dark undertone, similar to like the Voices or the Muppets. Or I mean, I guess the Muppets doesn't have a dark undertone, but it's fun. It's a fun, bright musical. So a lot of different influences there.
Excellent, excellent. And tell me a little bit about the cast of characters that you have lined up here, because you've got some tremendous talent lined up, a lot of local actors, from what I understand. So kind of set up the characters that you have and the actors that you have that the audiences are going to get to see up on screen.
Yeah, at the time of filming, everybody was local. Was from around here. Now, since then, a couple of them have moved away. But our main two actors, one of them is Graham Weldon. He plays the character of Jeff, and then Andy Finney, who plays the character of Rich, and they are both brothers. Uh, Rich is the older brother. He's very popular around town. The whole town loves him. He works for the local TV news station, so everyone sees him at night all the time on their TV. So everywhere he goes, people say hi to him, and we'll buy him coffee, all this kind of stuff. His younger brother also works at the TV station, but is his older brother's cameraman. So he follows him around everywhere, but gets no recognition. Nobody knows him from anybody. So he's just constantly living in his brother's shadow. So there's this ongoing sibling rivalry that happens throughout the story. Um, as far as the other characters, there is a new girl who starts working at the news station. Her name is Jill. She's played by Aline O'Neill. Aline has actually been in an ABC series called Will Trent. So
Mhm.
she's one of the ones who has since moved away and is going on to some great things. In fact, she just told me about some new things that she's working on that sounds pretty exciting. There's also the main character, Jeff's best friend, Colin. He is played by Cameron Perry, and he does an excellent job. He is definitely on the comedic relief side, and he and the cult leader, Clyde, who's played by Wes McNew, they are both like anytime the two of them are on screen, they kind of steal the stage a little bit because they're constantly just doing things that make you go, what is happening here? They're hilarious. And then my other there's like 6 top actresses. The other one is played by Rebecca Claiborne, and that is the character of Tina, who also works at the news station and is kind of a love interest for Rich.
Excellent, excellent. And as I was kind of reading through the description and kind of learning more and more about this film, something that stood out to me is the fact that you were playing yourself so many different roles with the creation of this project. What was it like for you yourself to be handling and balancing so many different titles as this production continued on?
Well, I'd love to say that it was the first time I had to do that, but unfortunately, it's not. My previous film was a short film where I was, aside from the actors, I was a one-man crew. So I was also doing the director of photography and I did everything for that film. It was a H.P. Lovecraft adaptation called The Terrible Old Man. But this one, it was actually kind of nice to be able to handle some of the things off to other people. So, I had a co-director who handled a lot of the line production and the first AD work. I had a director of photography who was handling all the camera work for me. I had PAs and gaffers and all that. So it was nice to spread that out a little bit. Now, in the end, once we were done filming, it still came down on me. I was the editor and I had to do the virtual special effects, but I got to hand the sound design over to someone else. So it's definitely a lot of work. I think had I been able to hand off more of it, it might have been done a little bit faster, but I also was able to more or less kind of get it looking and sounding the way that I wanted whenever I was involved in so many different things.
Yeah, well, that's also a benefit. You get you if you want something done right, do everything yourself. So, I know what that's like. So, uh, I think it's really great that you also were able to shoot, obviously, a lot of this stuff local. So when folks are getting to see this, they're probably going to recognize a lot of locations. Is there anything, any locations you can maybe pinpoint that audiences are going to want to look out for when they're seeing the film?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, everything was filmed around here. So aside from some of like the outside shots, there's one shot that was inside a barn. Like nobody's going to know where that is. But there's some main things that happen at the 417 Tap House, which is great. It's kind of the local hangout where everyone goes to have a drink after work. It's There's also a date scene that takes place at Holdfast Brewery, and both those are downtown. The big kind of song and dance sequence that happens at the beginning happens right through the downtown area into the square. So that's easily recognizable. I'm trying to think if there's anything off the top of my head. A lot of the rest of it is really just kind of places, out in the woods or in a barn or in somebody's house. So those probably aren't nearly as recognizable, but I know somebody who watched the trailer said they recognized like 7 different places. So
Perfect, perfect. And you guys have a very special premiere coming up. I definitely want you to share with the audiences when and where that's going to be taking place and how they can come out and participate with that.
yeah, we're gonna be at the Alamo Draft House on the south side of Springfield. It's gonna open on April 28th and currently goes through May 3rd. I'll put a couple caveats in there. So the April 28th showings sold out like immediately. So
Oh, wow.
we had the premiere. We opened up one showing for over 100 people and it was sold out within 2 hours. We opened up a second showing for another 80 people. It sold out within 2 hours. They have told us that there's the possibility that we will also get a third showing for that night, but we won't know till the week of. So April 21st, they may open up a third showing, but we don't know yet. Because they sold out so fast, they gave us an additional 5 showings. They are almost sold out. I think there's only like 35 tickets left. And so they have told us that they will most likely give us another showing for Saturday, another showing for Sunday, and if those sell out, they may extend it into the next week. They wanted to be done by the time Guardians of the Galaxy came out, because they're like, you're not going to compete with that. But they said, based on how this is going, I think we may just let it go ahead and just continue its run. So yeah, so I'm hoping that rather than doing this, we're gonna go that way. So
Yeah. No, man, that's super, super exciting. Now I imagine that this has got an aim for maybe some festival dates or something like that. Did you have any already scheduled out that you're planning on submitting for, or anything you can discuss?
I was actually just working on that a little earlier today. So nothing's been confirmed yet, but I had submitted for, I think, 5 different festivals, and we'll keep submitting for others. Submitted for Fantastic Fest, which is another Alamo one. It takes place down in Austin. I submitted for a couple of Lovecraft focused festivals. One of them is out in Portland, Oregon. I think it's the HP Lovecraft Film Festival, and another one's called, I think, Film Quest, and it's somewhere in Utah. And then there's another one that I submitted for the Atlantis Awards out in LA, and then there is another one out in Pennsylvania that we submitted for as well. And Gen Con, I submitted to Gen Con.
Oh, it's super exciting, man. That's super exciting. Well, man, I think we covered everything I had questions on. Anything you can think of that you just want our audiences to know that we haven't covered yet?
I think it's a really fun film. I think it's worth checking out. The guy from the Alamo, he had done a lot based just off of seeing the trailers, and then we did a test screening with him this last Saturday. And walking out of that, he's like, I don't like horror comedies, but I really enjoyed this. It was he said the word he uses is that it's got charm. So I really hope that other people who watch it will feel the same way. We've got some potential distributors that are going to be there for opening night, so it's very exciting. We're really hoping this takes off.
Awesome, man. If anybody wants some additional information, what's the best place for them to find that?
Well, they could either go to the Alamo Drafthouse website, or we have a website specifically for the film, eldritchusa.com. And Eldritch is Eldritch. I know sometimes people think of like Eldridge around here, but it's Eldritch. And we even have like a link tree, linktr.ee/eldritchusa, and that'll have a link for all the trailers and the tickets and everything for that.
Okay, perfect. Orion, man, thank you so much for your time. I sure appreciate it. It's been great getting to visit with you about this, and we're excited to get the word out for you.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, anytime. Anything else you ever want to jump on, visit about, don't hesitate to reach out. And good luck with the premiere. I'm very excited to see what takes place.
All right, thanks so much.